Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. We are going to be decluttering, obviously by the name of this title, a lot of eyeshadows. So it was time, it was the end of the year, it's time to start afresh. Actually, let's rephrase that. It's not time to buy a whole bunch of new eyeshadows. No, that is not what I'm saying. This is starting afresh, getting rid of stuff that you don't need, that you don't use, maybe gifting stuff to your family who may be able to use them, or just simply tossing them out because, you know, for whatever reason, they're just not, they've gone off. So I am kind of relieved. I am filming this intro after the fact. So I am so relieved, guys. You don't understand the weight that has been lifted off my shoulders to be able to have done this. I started this at 8:30 in the morning. The time is now 11:05, so it's taken me a while. I will have to obviously pack everything up, but if you guys love declutter videos, hoarding videos, or just simply makeup eyeshadow palette videos, then I hope you enjoy this one. Sit back, relax, grab a cup of tea, coffee, or your preferred beverage, and let's get into seeing which ones I get to keep and which ones I get to toss. So as you can see, guys, what is the definition of insanity? I think you can answer that question for yourselves. What's the average lifespan of an eyeshadow palette? Well, it can range from anywhere from 18 to 24 months, sometimes 36 months. But as you can see, all these eyeshadow palettes, most of them are over 3 years old. And I think it's just time to sort all this out. I obviously have an obsession with makeup, and as you all know, I think you guys do too. So yeah, I know, look, eyeshadow can last. I've had some eyeshadow palettes over 10 years and they still perform wonderfully. I think I decluttered some of those a while back, but for 2023, it's nearing the end of December, and I think it's just time, you know, I think it's just time to really knuckle down and get this shit sorted out. We really do need to get this sorted out because it's just crazy. I'll just walk over to let you know where I actually got these palettes from. They were all in this little wonderful IKEA drawer. Well, it's a little tray drawer sort of thing. Now, I'm not going to be including my single eyeshadows. It's just too much. Single eyeshadows for this video are not going to be allowed. So we're not going to talk about single eyeshadows. Now, I do need to get this stuff sorted out. So let's get the declutter happening. So what I'm actually going to do is sort out all my eyeshadow palettes by brand name. I'm just going to spare you the gory details while I sort this pile of mess out. Okay. My Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palette. This is the Prism palette. I'm definitely holding on to this. The Norvina palette. I'm definitely holding on to that. The Sultry palette. I'm absolutely holding on to this one. So guys, these three palettes by Anastasia Beverly Hills are keepers, and I will be holding on to all these three eyeshadow palettes that I have from ABH. And look at the dust. Yep, that's what happens when you've got velvet. These are my Colourpop eyeshadow palettes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 eyeshadow palettes in total. I am going to be keeping every single one of these eyeshadow palettes. Maybe in 2024 I will declutter them, but as you can see, they're still in pretty good condition. It's my Pleasure eyeshadow palette, which is what I've got on my eyes today. The Sweet Talk eyeshadow palette. Definitely holding on to that. The Aha Honey. And I'm definitely holding on to that. I am definitely holding on to the Star Wars Mandalorian and the Star Wars, well, this is the Child palette. This is the Mandalorian palette. Both of them are beautiful. I'm going to be holding on to those. They are still in their cardboard boxes, so I'm not going to actually take those out at the moment because, yeah, I'm not going to take them out. They're still in their packaging. And the Semi-Precious eyeshadow palette. This one here, I think I am going to declutter it. It's one that I actually really just don't use much anymore. It was well loved at one point in time, the Semi-Precious, but I think this one is going in the declutter pile. So yeah, I'm happy about getting rid of one palette. These are my beloved Viseart mini eyeshadow palettes, which I absolutely adore. I do have one other one which I do realise I didn't put in the piles, so let me just go ahead and grab that. There we go, here it is. Here, the Petit Four palette and the dark eyeshadow matte palette, this one here. The number 4 dark matte palette by Viseart, which is a palette that I'm going to be holding on to. I really haven't had much use of it. I bought it because I, at the time, wanted to have some dark mattes. And I have used it a couple of times in my life, but I think I can go without. But this one here are the little mini 8-pan palettes that you get, which are these beautiful tones in here. It's still in the little packaging, which I kept. This one here is the Apricotine. This one here is the Soleil. Gorgeous tones. The only thing with this eyeshadow palette here is this purple shade here, really need to dig your brush into it. It's kind of dry, and I don't know why that was the only eyeshadow out of the whole palette that was a dud. This one here called Lavender, and it's one of the most beautiful shades as well. So holding on to both of these mini palettes by Viseart. I'm holding on definitely to this one here. This is the gorgeous Peridot eyeshadow palette. Absolutely stunning. I do use this on a regular basis. The tones on here are absolutely amazing. Complimentary for all eye color tones, as I think pretty much any eyeshadow is really. So keeping all my beautiful Viseart eyeshadow palettes for sure. The wonderful Huda Beauty eyeshadow palettes. Guys, I am keeping all of these eyeshadow palettes. I have the Wild Python, I have the Wild Jaguar, I have the Coral Obsessions, and well, one of my most loved eyeshadow palettes is the Mercury Retrograde. Just to let you know how well loved it is. It's pretty well loved. I mean, holding it up sort of into more of a, I don't know, there we go. I think that's a better indication of the colours and how well loved it is. But as with all the other eyeshadow palettes, I do absolutely love the Wild palette by Huda Beauty. Look at these gorgeous tones. The Jaguar palette is also amazing. So stunning. This one here is not too bad. I think I might declutter this one here actually, now that I actually have a really good look at it. I'm not too keen on keeping this one here, which is the Coral Obsessions. I think these tones are pretty much, you know, they look all the same to me. I know these two shades here, this one, and this one, they seem pretty similar. I don't think that you can really create a complete eye look with this. I mean, you don't have to use every single eyeshadow at once, but I'm just not that keen with the shades, to be honest. So this one here, I am going to be decluttering. I've got these tones in other shadow palettes as well. Let's be real. So keeping the Jaguar, keeping the Wild Python, and keeping the Mercury Retrograde. So here I have the wonderful Tarte eyeshadow palette. This one here is the High Tide and Good Vibes eyeshadow palette. We got the Young, Wild and Cruelty Free. We've got the Tartlet in Bloom and the Baby Bloom. And let's see, I'm just going to open them up, starting off with the High Tide Good Vibes eyeshadow palette. And this is one of those, you know, this is that gorgeous palette where you have the water running through the eyeshadow palette and it's just so pretty. You know, it's gorgeous. I mean, obviously I was sold on the packaging, but it is an absolutely beautiful eyeshadow palette as well. So here we have the Young, Wild and Free eyeshadow palette, which I'm definitely keeping. We have the Baby Bloom eyeshadow palette, which I am going to keep actually. We have the Bloom palette, in Tarte in Bloom palette, which I am definitely keeping because it's just a iconic eyeshadow palette in my opinion, and stunning. It's more, look, you have some cool tones in there, you have your warm tones in there, you can't go wrong. And then this is the High Tides Good Vibes eyeshadow palette, which is beautiful. The only thing is I don't use these glitter shades anymore, which are here. I think that'd be actually quite dangerous for the eye. If you have a good like glitter primer, like the NYX glitter eyeshadow primer, by all means, this is not going to come off on your eyes, but you just got to be careful when taking it off because they are quite chunky glitter particles. But these shades right here, these tones right here are absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if I'm going to keep this eyeshadow palette. It is pretty much a maybe at the moment, but I feel like I just want to keep it for the packaging, and I think that's okay too. So I'm going to keep it. Urban Decay eyeshadow palettes. I got rid of my original Urban Decay Naked palette a long time ago. I do kind of wished I held on to it now for video purposes and just for collection purposes, but it was old and it just needed to be chucked out. So these are the remaining eyeshadow palettes that I have by Urban Decay. We've got the Naked Honey, Born to Run, Naked 2, and the Naked 3. Naked 3, Naked 2, hi, the Honey and the Born to Run. So I'm going to be keeping all of these eyeshadow palettes because I do use them from time to time, and especially this Naked 2. It's gorgeous. Love it. I don't have the Reloaded. As a matter of fact, I don't have any other eyeshadow palettes from Urban Decay that I can think of. Maybe one stashed somewhere that I just don't know about. But for now, these are all keepers. The Wonderful Essence eyeshadows, which I have 2 mermaid eyeshadow palettes here because I'm obsessed with mermaids and I had to get 2. And luckily I did because one of the eyeshadow colours popped out. We have the Good Vibes. This one here is the Crystal Dreams eyeshadow palette. We have the Don't Stop, Don't Worry. The Jurassic Park by Essence eyeshadow palette. We have the Bronze This Way Dancing Green. And I don't know, I need to declutter them. I know that I do need to declutter them. I'm not using them at all. Like these ones here sort of hardly have these 2 here have hardly been touched. Even this one here, the Million Nude Faces eyeshadow palette. I'm just going to open them all up. Decluttering this Baby Bloom eyeshadow palette. I feel like it's just boring, sort of like the Anastasia Rose Metals eyeshadow palette. Just reminds me of that color story. So I'm decluttering the Good Vibes, Good Memories eyeshadow palette. The Crystal Dreams eyeshadow palette is also going to be decluttered. I don't use this much. I've got these tones all over, through and through. They're beautiful, but I don't really need them. So I'm decluttering this Crystal Dreams eyeshadow palette as well. I'm keeping the Jurassic Park eyeshadow palette because I think it's so beautiful. The tones in here are gorgeous. They're excellent quality. Keeping this one. The Dancing Green eyeshadow palette, I'm decluttering. I have the Peridot eyeshadow palette by Viseart, and I actually prefer that over this one here. This eyeshadow formula is okay. It's not my favorite, but I'm going to be getting rid of the Dancing Green eyeshadow palette. I'm getting rid of the Bronzed This Way eyeshadow palette. It's pretty much the tones that I've, repeated tones. I've got these in many other bigger palettes, so I'm definitely going to be decluttering this one. And guys, I have decided that I'm going to be decluttering all of these. I don't use them. There's no point to say that I'm going to use them because I just know I'm not going to. So I will be giving these away to some of my cousins who I'm sure will appreciate. I also forgot to mention the Don't Worry eyeshadow palettes. I'm keeping this one, and I'm decluttering the Don't Stop eyeshadow palette because I just have all these tones here. So I'm going to be getting rid of the Don't Stop and keeping the Don't Worry. e.l.f. eyeshadow palettes. This is the Ocean and Earth palette right there. This one here is the Carnival Candy. This is the Rose Gold. This one here is the Rose Gold Sunset palette. And the Aqua Beauty e.l.f. eyeshadow palette here. Okay, so going to be keeping the Ocean and Earth eyeshadow palette because these tones are absolutely wonderful. Murky greens, swampy blues. Maybe it's the other way around, but you get the drift, right? These tones are just beach. Beach, beach, beach. Beautiful, beautiful colors. Keeping this one. I am getting rid of the Carnival Candy eyeshadow palette. I just really don't like the color story, to be honest. I just don't. The Rose Sunset Gold eyeshadow palette. Getting rid of it. I don't use it. Beautiful tones. And I'm getting rid of the Aqua Beauty eyeshadow palette because I've had this forever and hardly really used. So getting rid of that. So out of all my e.l.f. eyeshadow palettes, I'm keeping the Ocean and Earth. Natasha Denona time. My beautiful mini 6-pan, well, they're 5-pan, but I have 6 of them, eyeshadow palettes. This is the bigger one, and a full-sized eyeshadow palette by, well, the Sunrise palette. Let me just open that up. Okay. I'm keeping all of them. Excellent quality. Can't bear to part with these. I do use them interchangeably a lot. And yeah, so keeping all of my Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes. This is my one and only big eyeshadow palette, well, the midi that I have by Natasha Denona, and I'm so glad I got the Sunrise eyeshadow palette because I think it's actually one of the actual better color stories that she's ever done. You got your purples, you got your sort of your reds, your oranges, colors that I just love to use. So no declutter from Natasha Denona. Okay, these are not butterflies, but I'll close them up in a minute, but these are just the Easter Bunny eyeshadow palettes by Revolution. I'm going to be decluttering all of my bunny eyeshadow palettes. Even though I absolutely love the packaging, I think it's adorable, I'm going to be giving these to my cousins to use. I've hardly used them, but I had to get every single one at the time when it came out. Maybe I left out one because I just wasn't really happy with the color story. But I am keeping this gorgeous eyeshadow palette here, which is a dupe for the Riviera palette by ABH. The Revolution, this one here is the Forever Flawless. Forever Flawless. It's a dupe for the Natasha, no, it's a dupe for the ABH Riviera palette, and definitely going to be keeping this one. So I do use it. The formula is great, no complaints. So keeping that one, but decluttering these bunny rabbits, which are so adorable, but just don't use them. See how we waste our money. We get sucked in. We just get sucked into the hype. So think twice, guys, think twice. The Too Faced Natural Love eyeshadow palette. The Natural Nudes Born This Way. Natural Nudes Born This Way Too Faced. Obviously this is all Too Faced. And the Born This Way Sunset Stripped eyeshadow palette. This eyeshadow palette here, the Sunset Stripped, when you look at the tones in here, you automatically think they're absolutely amazing and beautiful and gorgeous. The only thing with this eyeshadow palette is it's a great big letdown. It is nothing compared to the Born This Way Natural Nudes. This one here, I just recently got from my brother. He gifted it to me. And it's a keeper, obviously. I'm going to be keeping it. I absolutely love this. I filmed a little tutorial for Christmas using this eyeshadow palette. But this one here is so disappointing. The formula is so bad, I'm getting rid of it. The Natural Love eyeshadow palette, this one here I'm keeping. It's a huge eyeshadow palette, but these tones are just gorgeous. They're pretty much neutral with little hints of, with little pops of pink and color and cool tone shades here as well. It's just a beautiful eyeshadow palette, like it really is. Definitely keeping the Natural Love eyeshadow palette, keeping the Natural Nudes, but getting rid of this one here, disappointing. Pat McGrath eyeshadow palette. This is the only eyeshadow palette that I own by the lovely Pat McGrath. This is the, what's it called? The Mothership Mega Celestial Divinity eyeshadow palette. This is it right here. And the formula is not so bad. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's my only Pat McGrath eyeshadow palette, so I'm holding on to it. The formula is nice, the colors are nice. I've got them all in other eyeshadow palettes as well, but you know, the packaging on this is lovely, so I'm keeping it. My Blend Bunny Cosmetics eyeshadow palette is one of my most well-loved eyeshadow palettes at the moment, guys. It's absolutely stunning. Definitely going to be keeping this one here. I have been using it a lot. And the Sugar and Spice Blend Bunny Cosmetics is a winner in my books. Definitely keeping this one. So that's the box that it comes in. Definitely holding on to that. Then we have a random SugarPill eyeshadow palette, which I put these tones together myself, the SugarPill Pro. These eyeshadow colors are absolutely gorgeous and they are still in mint condition. I have used them a fair bit over the course of time that I have had them, but you know, I just love all the tones. They still perform really, really, really well. And I'm definitely holding on to my SugarPill Pro eyeshadow palette. Then we go into this beautiful eyeshadow palette here by Urban Myth. By Black Moon Cosmetics. The Urban Myth eyeshadow palette. I had to get this because of the actual packaging. I mean, there's a dinosaur in the lagoon with the space and UFO, and I think that's like, it could be Sasquatch, but it's not. A little hooligan in the background there. Absolutely amazing. But look at the little eyes there, and hooligan here, and oh, it's just so cute. Anyway, Urban Myth, this eyeshadow palette is absolutely gorgeous, but it's time to toss out because it's all moldy. Isn't that a shame? So I really don't want to get rid of this, but I'm gonna have to. See, eyeshadow does expire, guys. It really, really, really does. Not all the eyeshadows are affected, but you know, Loch Ness and Chupacabra, even the red one's a little bit molded. Bigfoot. So sad. But out of all of these tones, my favorite one was Boogeyman here, this green, and the Bermuda Triangle. So stunning. So anyway, guys, yeah, getting rid of this one here. I might just pan all the eyeshadows and just keep the packaging, because I can't bear to get rid of this packaging. It's so cute. The Wayne Goss beautiful luxury eye palette in amber. I'm keeping this. I have been using it for a while now. See these tones, absolutely beautiful. They're huge, huge, huge eyeshadow palette pans. Well, they're huge eye pans, and the tones are gorgeous. Love the tones. I mean, the formula is just gorgeous here. I got this as a, this came in the Beautylish Lucky Bag that I recently got last year. So definitely keeping that one by Wayne Goss. Then we have Melt Cosmetics. And I know I feel like I'm going to be decluttering this one here. Let's see, the Smoke Sessions. This one here I know was starting to get a little bit molded up by Melt. Open it up here. No, still going strong actually. I think I was just getting confused with the Urban Myth palette that was pretty much getting moldy, but this here is actually quite good. Holding on to the Smoke Show eyeshadow palette for sure by Melt Cosmetics. And then I have the Rust palette. I'm not going to go ahead and open them all up, but you get the gist. Each, you know, it comes like that. They slide off. I just dung my finger into there just now, as you can see. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I'm keeping the Rust eyeshadow palette because they're all pretty good formulas still, and the tones on the Rust stack is absolutely amazing. Is it called the Rust stack? I think it is. I think it is. But yeah, so definitely holding on to these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eyeshadow pans here. So yeah, good. I'm holding, look at all the eyeshadow on my black desk, lovely, but holding on to Melt, which is great. Heading down to the floor because I don't have any more room left on my desk at the moment to open things up. So here we have the Zoeva eyeshadow palette in Caramel Melange. Decluttering this, guys. Never was really a huge fan of it, so that's going. The OFRA Pro palette. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous tones, but I'm decluttering it because it's so old. I've had it for a while. I mean, I still kept it with the plastic cover on top because I thought it'd be good just to keep it sort of covered, but definitely going to be getting rid of these. These actually can come out. See how they've got the slots? You can pan them out. I am sad to get rid of it, but to be honest, the eyeshadow formula is not that great. It's deceiving. It's more sort of like, they look really pigmented and everything like that, but they don't really come off on your eyes pigmented. They're quite sheer, and you really do have to stick your brush in there to get the pigment out. I think that'd be great to mix with a bit of Duraline and work as eyeliners, so there's that. We'll see, but for now I think I might be decluttering this eyeshadow palette by OFRA. So that's one there. We have a random eyeshadow palette by NYX. I'm decluttering this one here. It's the Avant Pop. I'm just not a fan of the formula and the tones of this eyeshadow palette, so that's going. We have the Pocket Palette by Sephora in the cool brown tones. I'm keeping this one. I love the eyeshadow tones in this one, so I'm keeping it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, here we go. We have the SMASHBOX Punked palette. I'm holding on to that one because I absolutely think it's amazing. Cool toned eyeshadow palette by SMASHBOX, keeping that. The Blushing Berries by Dose of Colors. I am getting rid of this eyeshadow palette. I only bought it for the brush, which I'm going to keep the brush because it's apparently an excellent brush, which I rate it pretty well. So definitely going to be holding onto this brush that it came with. But yeah, the Blushing Berries is not really my cup of tea. And the formula is just way too powdery. So getting rid of that. The CoverGirl True Naked Nudes. I'm decluttering it. I don't need it. So getting rid of that. We go here to MECCA. Holding on to both of these eyeshadow palettes. This one here is the, what's it called? Play It Cool, which I just recently done a little video on as well. Well, not too long ago. So absolutely love these tones. And I'm definitely holding on to my Holidays eyeshadow palette here, which is the huge color eyeshadow palette, which I use all the time. Absolutely love this holiday eyeshadow palette. It's gorgeous. So holding on to that. I'm holding on to all these. These are my CLIONADH eyeshadows and blusher that I got from the brand. So I'm definitely holding on to these. They're just like duochrome eyeshadows, and I put them in this magnetic case that I ordered from the company as well. Holding on to Charlotte Tilbury Mesmerize eyeshadow palette. I love the tones in here, they're gorgeous. Holding on to that for sure. Getting rid of the Flower Beauty eyeshadow palette. This one here is Petal Bloom, or no, sorry, Petal Play. Not really that, it's just nothing spectacular. So getting rid of the Flower Beauty 4-pan palette. Then we have the UOMA palette, the Coming to America eyeshadow palette. So let me just go ahead and open that one up. So the packaging's gorgeous. I ordered this from the Beautylish website. I haven't really used it much. I mean, the tones are gorgeous. They're pretty much your typical jewel tones, but I'm going to declutter this one, guys. I don't really reach out to it much. At the time, I was really excited to get it, but the color story is just not really my cup of tea. So, going to be decluttering that one. The SHAANXO, the remix. Getting rid of it. It's an 18 eyeshadow palette. Don't use it. Getting rid of it. The ARTISTRY eyeshadow palette. I bought this because of the hype that it was received at the time by Mariah Leonard. How it was actually duping that eyeshadow palette by, I think it was by Mario and Anastasia, Beverly Hills. I don't really reach out for these eyeshadow tones, but I bought it because I didn't have the Mario by Anastasia eyeshadow palette. I can't even remember what it's called now, but yeah. So getting rid of this one here. It's called definitely keeping the Alter Ego Goddess palette. This here is gorgeous. It's the dupe for the Natasha Denona gold palette. I'll just open it up. Natasha Denona gold palette. Dupe. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. Definitely holding on to that, guys. It's a keeper and a winner in my books. The Tarte palette, volume 1. And I believe there was only ever one volume, I think. Pretty much sure there was only one volume. This is it here in all her glory. I'm definitely going to be holding on to this eyeshadow palette for the fact that I was so ecstatic to place my order at the time when it came out. The formulas are all absolutely wonderful. They're beautiful. I'm not too fussed with the glitter shades, although they do work really, really well. So holding on to the Tarte Beauty eyeshadow palette for sure. Getting rid of the W7 Blazon eyeshadow palette. It's the Urban Decay Naked Heat dupe. Getting rid of this. Just don't feel the color story. All the tones look the same. Yeah, I don't reach out for it. So definitely going to be decluttering this one. I am definitely decluttering this eyeshadow palette here. What a disappointment this one was. The Under My Skin eyeshadow palette. It was came in a Beautylish lucky bag one year, and it's by Miss Fame Beauty. This just reminds me of the Colourpop palette, the semi-precious Colourpop eyeshadow palette. Sure, there are some beautiful tones in here, but the color story again just doesn't wow me. So I have all these tones anyway. Definitely going to be decluttering this one. Now this one here has got dust all over it because it's been hiding in a little corner of mine. The After Dark Spark eyeshadow palette by Kit. Decluttering this one, guys. It's just like your baked eyeshadow, typical sort of jewel tone, neutral, I guess boring shades, which I have over and over again. So decluttering that. And guys, that brings us to declutter pile. Declutter pile. So guys, basically I'm keeping 51 eyeshadow palettes. I know it's insane. I know it's absolutely insane. And I'm tossing out 32. 32 I am decluttering, total of 83 eyeshadow palettes. So tossing out 32 and keeping 51. So there you guys have it. 83 eyeshadow palettes in total. I'm keeping 51. I'm tossing out 32. So that's a significant amount of eyeshadow palettes to be decluttering, I think. You know, if I had to narrow it down in having to keep a whole maybe 10 top eyeshadow palettes, that's going to be a different video, because obviously out of those 51 eyeshadow palettes that I currently use, of course I have my favorite, but I'm holding on to these 51 only because I have an emotional attachment to them. I really do. I have an emotional attachment to the other 32, but I just really am, it's time to let go. You know, I feel like my emotional attachment to those other ones are not as significant as to the ones that I'm keeping. As a matter of fact, I'm just relieved. So relieved, guys. Have you guys done an eyeshadow decluttering this year? Do you think I'm absolutely nuts for having this amount of eyeshadow palettes? Are you guys crazier than I am? I know that you are. Just, you don't even have to say it. I know that you guys are. But seriously, guys, nobody, this is what people do. This is what a makeup obsessed person does. They collect makeup. And I do not have any regrets whatsoever purchasing these eyeshadow palettes. I spent my hard-earned money buying these. I will continue to buy eyeshadow palettes, but I am thinking so much more, you know, long term now, because I pretty much have everything that I need at my fingertips here. And you know, when it comes to doing another declutter, it won't be so bad. It won't be so, I don't know, anxiety ridden, if you know what I mean. Look, I have a cupboard full of clothes which I need to declutter so badly, guys, because with clothing, so much fast fashion that has been bought. Now that I'm a little bit more conscious and aware, actually a lot more conscious and aware, I'm making better choices to what I actually buy for clothing these days, shoes included, but that's another story. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really, really hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. For those of you who have recently subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. Welcome aboard. Love having you here. Please introduce yourself and say hello in the comments below. Let me know what your stories are when it comes to makeup in general. Are there any other videos that you'd like me to film? Because, you know, I'm happy to do it. Yeah, I think next decluttering will be probably face palette. I think face palette. There's not too many of those. I think I can handle that one a bit better. All right, guys, bye for now.